Smith-Njigba from Ohio State came on last year like, wow, who the heck's this guy? Because you had the two big-time pros now, Wilson and Olave, and yet this guy was like the top receiver for Ohio State last year in a lot of different ways. Did not get the opportunity yet this year to showcase, though, him being the clear number one because of injury. But there's still big games, a lot of games left for him to showcase himself. What really separates him from being potentially the top receiver in the class?
What separates him from being the top, I think the fact that he's just been primarily a slot receiver. You haven't seen him line up on the outside. Now, that could be a result that you had Wilson and Olave last year kind of blocking that path. And he did move to the outside a little bit once those guys kind of bowed out for the season. I believe they skipped the Rose Bowl last year, right? And that's where he blew up.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. You like I said, you never want to use one game as the deciding factor, but that really is what put him on the on the national spotlight. He had a great year before that, but when you're drafting someone high in the first round, you need to. It's hard to imagine a slot only being drafted that high, and I think one of the reasons why you don't view him as an outside guy is he's out of Blazer. He's not going to be a 4.4 guy. He might be closer to 4.5. And like we said at the start of the talk that we did on the running backs, it matters. Those numbers are going to matter. And then, the fact that he's not very tall, the fact that he's not going to be, top 10, 20 percentile of speed, it's going to kind of just put a little dent in the armor and say, hey, are we really going to use a first-round pick on this guy? Even though his production's off the charts, he comes from a great Ohio State program that Brian Hartline has done an outstanding job with receivers, and the best one is yet to come in Marvin Harrison Jr., which will be out next year.
And by the way, he could actually end up as a head coach next year. Hartline.
I agree with you. I've listened to him several times. He's one of these assistant coaches that I feel like I learned something about the position and scouting every time I listen to him. And there's a lot to that. There's a lot of charisma behind Hartline as well, and just the history that he has. But I think Jaxon, he has everything that you would want a really good slot to be. He's thick, he's strong, he's quick, he runs good routes, he catches the ball, he can do things after the catch. I just think that the fact that there is a ceiling on him, even though the basement seems to be very high, is limited, the ceiling.